Hello, distinguished colleagues. This is our business lectorium of the Digital High Textile Russia 2020. We are having our online expo involving 97 companies from 15 countries that represent over 200 international brands, visa industry leaders, suppliers of wallpapers, textiles, paints, equipment for textile industry, and many others, many other types of products. Our program is continued with a roundtable on a very hot issue and a very pressing issue on the textile industry, which is the labeling, the actual issues of a labeling system. Anna Fomicheva, our host today, will guide you, will talk us through all the issues on the agenda. Hello, distinguished colleagues. We are having a big day today because our today's labeling roundtable is a topic that is relevant to anyone. We are currently living through a lot of changes, and of course, our wonderful textile industry will feel this change. We will talk today with experts and practical specialists that will help you prepare, and that will help you understand that you need to set up relationships with this system. We have Alexander Dolgiev, analyst from the Center of Perspective Technology Development. Of course, you will have a lot of questions to him. Nadezhda Valkova, Director of Business Process Department of LLC Nordtex. She is the wonderful entrepreneur, the wonderful company that already knows how to label, and they're engaged in a big project. She will tell us today about her challenges and pros and cons of the process. Irina Kovtun, CEO, your Vash broker, your broker customs carrier. We know a lot about your business. You help your customers because even if you don't help them, then why we need a broker after all? We are ready to start our substantive talk right away. I urge you to ask questions. Even if we don't have time to read them out, we will be able to come back to the chat and be able to provide answers to all the questions that will be sent to the chat. One of the first general questions we want to discuss with Alexander, we want to ask you about the general topic of labeling. Why was it created and why was it implemented? Actually, it's a very good question. Thank you for this. In our country, the market is overflown with a lot of fake goods in footwear and textile. All these negatively influences, negatively affects the economy in general. Besides, we need to provide traceability not through manufacturing and transporting. We want to provide traceability throughout the chain until the product is utilized and then disposed. Labeling is just a tool to provide this functionality. The key topic of all of us to provide this traceability and provide this throughput throughout traceability at all the steps from manufacturing to end customer. I like foreign trade activity, and I like taking part in that. We feel that our future is our legal framework of foreign trade activity. We are currently having more complex certification. We need to confirm all the processes using dedicated software. As a customs representative who has been doing foreign trade activity for many years, what is the position of the government? We have been piloting our experiments in Belarus. We are providing labeling for footwear, and we also are having our experiment kicking off and rolling out in Kazakhstan. When we finish all the experiments in the states of the Union, then we will have the base that will be connected throughout the territory, and it will be a unified labeling system. We have a direct contact with all the systems, and we provide this functionality. When we label a product in Belarus, this information can be tracked and can be accessible in other countries, in Russia, for example, and vice versa. Our vision is 2024. Just more details. So all product groups will be labeled, and you need to get prepared right now. And I'd like to ask Nadezhda more about this. You are engaged in the pilot project, right? Yes, correct. Why did you do that? Many think that we just need to wait. We just need to wait until everything is implemented, and then we will understand how it works. We are treating this process seriously. We really understand that we need to prepare all our processes. We really feel that we want to stay a legal producer, a legal partner. We are a legal partner, and we have always been certifying our products. We are currently just beginning, just kicking off. We've been participating in working groups, so we have been discussing a possible solution. Initially, it seemed to us that it was not feasible, yet this movement was moving on, and we understood that step by step it could be possible. What kind of products you produce? We produce everything in Russia. We produce bed linens, bed sheets, bed sets. We also manufacture towels, and we also produce all kitchen towels and kitchen things, kitchen objects. We also do labeling for that. And we also produce textiles, pillows, bed linens. At the moment, we only need to certify the 3 groups until 2021. As a manufacturer, it is easier for you because you do it yourself. Yes, we do it yourself. It's quite easy. We have both manufacturers and import companies. Of course, our import colleagues will have even more questions because we need to understand that if it's an imported goods, then the labeling should be provided to the manufacturer. If you're a small importer, very often manufacturers, producers don't want to label your goods. It can happen, and we will talk about it. And I'd like to ask Irina whether your customers, all of your customers, think about labeling. Are all of them prepared for it? What's now the sound is okay. Initially, suppliers and consignees who've been preparing to labeling, who have been taking care about labeling. Initially, they are more prepared and they are more confident in the current process. They are more confident about the customs clearance process. Those importers that import small batches, they face more challenges because they need to provide functionalities, provide software, and have every equipment to label everything, including inventories. And of course, they need to invest a lot. Companies need to understand how they are going to sell goods. Our practice shows that major importers are labeling their products on site in the manufacturing site, and they supply their products with data matrix codes. For example, this is relevant for footwear. Since June the 1st, we have been having this process. Medium importers send partly labeled and unlabeled goods. When we get unlabeled goods, this issue has to be treated by the consignee that is going to sell the products domestically in our country. This means that they will need to sign up for the Chestny Znak system. They would need to get the codes, and they would need to label the products. If unlabeled products are sent, then a consignee needs to send the codes to the customs warehouse, and only after that goods can be released for further selling, for further sales. There are a lot of quite significant issues in this process, and of course, they need to remember the timing for this customs clearance. They need to be prepared beforehand for having this process in place. Of course, they will try to work diligently with their partners. The process, if they have this process in place, then the process of receiving the goods and releasing them is quite quick, but it's not the case. The process can take several days or weeks or even months because there could be issues with sorting, with inventory handling, and I'd like to call on all importers who import their goods without having data matrix codes for them to be prepared to this process. And of course, one more issue is that we have not many customs warehouses, so we are facing another challenges. We are thinking on further developing these customs warehouses. Currently, we don't have our customs warehouses don't have this value as bonded warehouses have in other countries. We won't be touching upon our customs legislation and its gaps. We are currently in a transition period, and of course, I would like to support our customs authorities. They are trying to legalize all the processes. Of course, a legal business is a complex process. Of course, the labeling will facilitate the process of legalizing a lot of businesses. We remember that about our fur products, and this will also be relevant for other types. How do we label our products? We understand the process for footwear. We have a box with shoes. We put the label on the box and that's it. Yet there can be more complex products such as bed sheets or bed sets that include several products. Should it be just one label? Well, for kits, for sets, this is relevant for manufacturers. We don't have sets in shoes. These kits happen. These kits appear in manufacturing of consumer goods. We try to label sets only, sets that are completed, that are created on site in the manufacturing. The data matrix code label and the label itself are put on the set, which cannot be split. So it's not possible to just sell a piece of set, for example, a pillow cover or some other product, right? Yes, it's not possible. So if there is an issue, if there is a situation when we have a big hypermarket with very interesting customers, they just take the set, then they split the set manually, and they just want to buy a piece of it. After that, you just will need to relabel this product. You will need to relabel it, get a new data matrix code. So this will be a whole process. We put it on the product again and send it back to sales. More on violations. If I have an issue of my Chinese partners labeling a product in a wrong way, so the key thing, if the labeling is not correct, I get the product, there was no inspection, I get it to the warehouse and start selling it, then I understand that labels have been mixed. What's the responsibility here? Well, in this case, we need to work with our customs authority. Of course, the customs specialists who clear the goods, if there is an issue that of a discrepancy between labels and actual goods, this customs specialist should reissue the declaration, the customs declaration. Then after that, there should inspections be made in compliance with the customs codes. And after that, then after that, products should be relabeled. Regarding the legal action, will be any legal action because of that? If you declare this in the declaration in the graph 31, if there is a wrong data matrix code, I can tell you that you won't be able to sell these products because your customs declarations will be erroneous. Of course, this information will be not correct, and our Rospotrebnadzor agency, which tracks customers and sellers, can file a claim. So this is a real an issue. This means that all information needs to be transparent. Of course, we can understand it about footwear, but when we have a container, if we have a container full of textile products, believe me, I respect our textile industries. So this container can have pillow covers, towels, some child kits, and whatever. So it can be full of different mixed products. We have to understand that in China, when they label these goods, they can make a mistake. And of course, we face such issues. Of course, the responsibility is on customs specialists. You need just to check it. Starting 2021, you're planning to implement even more as a customs representative. We also are liable. Will you be working with these customers? How would you work to stay safe in this regard? You were right to say that you need to be sure about the paperwork. If you're confused, then of course purchaser needs to have a pre-inspection so that he has no further issues in selling the product. If the customer is not confident in the product, then of course it should understand that it will be able to correct all the list finally in the declaration, but this will be some process of us losing some time. Of course, purchasers, customers don't need that, so you need just to assess all the risks and understand whether they need to just exert more control. If you are not sure in your shipper, then you will need to label your products yourself. You will need to follow the import 70 procedure. The products will be inspected and you will get the data matrix codes that are needed for the batch. And then after that, you'll be able to sell them freely. Each customer needs to assess its shipper and conclude whether it should proceed directly or with own labeling. Thank you. I will ask a question to Alexander. Do we need to label inventories, stocks? Yes, of course, we do that, and we need to do that. On the 1st of March, we started rolling out for footwear. Everyone was preparing. We felt that it was a workload in the system. We saw that these indicators were growing. We saw that the number of codes were also increasing. That was relevant for the footwear itself. And for other products, we were expecting that. We were expecting that delay. Then we had this date of the 1st of July. Those who were prepared, they were prepared. This is relevant to major manufacturers mostly. At the level of the Ministry of Industry and Commerce, at the level of the government, we understood that if we delay this process because of the pandemic, it will lead to losses for those who have prepared. Their investments will be cancelled because our fake products will be still imported to our country. That's it. We, at that moment, were confident that we won't have any delay, and we were organizing webinars, several webinars a day, and I kept telling people that we want to have everything fixed, and we want to finalize this process with labeling. And I'd like to urge everyone not to delay until the last moment, until the 31st of September. You will be able to label your stocks until the 1st of February. And you know that half of January is a month full of holidays, New Year holidays. So you need just to remember it. Many think as follows. I will speak outwardly. Many of you know me. They are like, you should have imported your goods through the Union state, and you probably could have used Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, or other countries to import your goods, and you are like thinking, I will label those products and then finalize this process, even if I violate some customs rules. This is because I use this gray scheme of importing footwear. This is a simplified system. If we label the goods, then probably this process will be complicated. This will be more complicated. For stocks labeling, we have designed a number of solutions with the Ministry of Industry and Trade and involving other stakeholders and market participants of the process of labeling. We adopted our target model. Then we want to replicate this model for all the product groups who want to label our stocks. As you know, in perfumes, we are currently don't have any stocks. We only have stocks of products that were delivered to Russian Federation until a specific date. Those products which have been imported to our country until the exact date, they don't need to be labeled. So this is how stocks are managed in manufacturing of consumer goods in footwear. We're trying to provide this functionality for sellers to label their stocks of products that were imported 4 or 5 years ago and which have not been sold. The question is why you have them in the warehouse, and another question is that you need to label them anyway. Of course, it's very hard to find the documents for such products. The industry itself and our ministry, they understand all that, and there are 4 attributes to provide simplified process of labeling: Russian origin or imported Russian to Russia, then the first figures of the customs harmonized code, and the designation of the good, whether it's for children, men or women, and some other parameters. So this is enough to get several GTNs and provide labels and put those labels on those goods. I can tell you fairly that our market participants are telling us, guys, we haven't labeled our stocks. What should we do about it? Because we haven't done that. I tell them, guys, stay calm and carry on. Try to be consecutive. You just need to do that beforehand. And I'd like to reiterate that you just need to start this process of labeling stocks right now, because otherwise you have a lot of issues. September is almost gone. We only have October, November, and December. In December, half of December, we are preparing for the new year. Then in January, half of December, we are celebrating. We are continuing to celebrate the New Year. So this is what we all expect. The New Year is a cool period, of course. You are telling us about it the second time. Again, so we have the system up and running. We are engaging it. What should we pay attention to? Of course, we can. We had some challenges, especially at the beginning. We organized this process step by step. Started with smaller steps with properties. Then we started working with the agency, and then we faced a number of challenges. We started looking for technical solutions with entity specialists, and I'd like to thank them for their support. We understood the timing. We also were trying to delay some tasks, understanding that the NPT is responsible for that. We were also implementing the procedures that have been proven for footwear. So we started implementing a number of processes. A big question is for each stage is to select equipment, to select the right printers and scanners, to select correct consumables in terms of quality, in terms of pricing. We understand that it's big investments. Fine-tuning our electronic document exchange systems are also relevant. Our labeling system was a driver for us to look into our processes, to streamline them. We had several electronic document exchange operators. So we had some operators there, some operations we managed manually. So this process of labeling pushed us to optimize this process, to select best operators, to set up our exchange process. This was quite a relevant process that helped us optimize and streamline our processes, including our labeling process. We started printing labels with thermal printing. We also understood what kind of spot we need to have on a package to put a label on. We have been testing this process. This is a big question, and of course, this is a big process. We don't have time to discuss all the details. We will be having our streaming from our stand, and I will tell our participants more about the equipment and about the issues we've been facing. It will help our partners and customers to be quicker in addressing these issues, because we were very diligent in this process ourselves. I have something to add. I'd like to tell manufacturers and those companies that have their own trademarks the following thing. Our Russian manufacturers have always faced some fake products that are sold even quicker than originals. And we also understand that fake goods cannot be labeled. So we understand that it's not possible. But there is another side of the coin here. Our manufacturers today can even have a better situation because of a labeling. Import of replicas is going down, and I really believe that labeling will be working efficiently in the Russian Federation, and it will also span across the Eurasian Council. We remember these fur products, fur coats that were sold in our country with fake codes. I urge you to use legal manufacturers, and please don't deal with fixers. You just need to concentrate on your current goal, and we understand that labeling is a financial investment. It's an issue. Small producers, small sellers buy from markets in China, and they don't know how to label their products. So Chinese have been quick to adapt, and they're currently offering the following thing. For footwear, I have a friend who has 50 suppliers of footwear. There is a company in China which collects the footwear and delivers everything to the warehouse. They label everything and they export it. There are such services. I want to have such services, similar services in Russia, not only in format of customs warehouses. Probably we would have a authorized operator. Probably some of you are our viewers today are operators. So this could be a push to raise this awareness and to raise the status across the country. We want to motivate, to stimulate this process. Our textile companies probably need to look into such an idea. This is just some impression. We have questions from our viewers. I see that we have some questions. The first question is from Zaleshin Dmitry. Hello. For those labels, for those products that have been labeled and sold, can we get the money back? So the producer produced fewer goods. When you order a product, product is labeled, and then labels can be stored for 60, for 90 working days. They are stored. I can be mistaken. It can be either 60 or 90 days. So you just can keep it until you start getting new products to you, getting these labels to you in the format of files or PDFs. When you do that, the money is withdrawn automatically from your account, and the service is considered rendered when you get those label codes. These are just two ways. You can do that via your personal account, or you can pull it up to your information system. When you get the codes, the money is withdrawn. The service is considered rendered. If you don't use them, they will be invalid in several dozens of working days, and you won't need to pay for it. So there is no such procedure as money return, as a refund. You just won't pay for things you don't use, for labels you don't use. You will be able to handle, to store these labels, and we don't have any validity period. There is no validity period after you pulled in the label. Okay. We have quick questions. Oksana Blokhina. If there is an option for the manufacturer to sell a set of products or separate products, a kit, a set of products is formed, is created only at an import point or on a manufacturing site, and it cannot be split. And we also have one more entity, which is set, which is a set in the system. They can be used as a known entity. For example, if three jackets of different colors, they all need to be marked. They can be put in one package, and this package can be labeled, and it can be sold as a set. Yeah, it's an additional option that can be handled. It's quite good, but it's just very complicated. For example, if we have a set of shirts of the same product of different color, if it's just different color, we can assemble a kit, assemble a set package. So I can take a red one, a blue one, and a green one, and I can create a split in Russia for it to be to be handled at cashier's desk easily. So there will be just one beautiful package that is scanned at cash desk. So we will have the package, and in this package there will be free shirts. So this is a bundle, for example, for the 8th of March. Yes, this is a bundle for possible holidays. You just need to get prepared beforehand because of the holidays, because of the New Year, especially importers. Because manufacturers, for manufacturers, it is easier because for you, it's really simpler. You can label it yourself. And for importers, it is complicated and you need to think about it right now. Third question. Vasilisa Baganova, we make tailored textile products for restaurants and hotels. Do we need to label it? If you have a contract with your customer and if you make products based on a service agreement, you don't need to label your products, and so this exception has been included to the dedicated document of the government. If you sell products, then you must label the product. So you just need to be based on a service provision, service contract in such a case. Yulia Bobrova, do we need to label textile materials that are manufactured in Russia and supplied to European countries, because customers might be against of having additional labels? We have this exclusion in the government resolution. If we produce the product in the Russian Federation, then we need to have ID codes that need to be put in the dedicated customs declaration graph. Our customs authority will be able to check the codes, the same as with import. For further procedures for re-export, for example, if you want to return the product, re-import of products, if we will be if we need to get the product back to our country, then of course we'll be able to follow all the rules. So I think probably all these processes, when we already have the system up and running, they will be fine-tuned. If you are confused, you need to be based on the government resolution on product groups. It includes all products that need to be labeled. It also includes some exclusions items. So it lists all exclusions when labeling is not needed, when labeling is not needed for imported goods as well. This is relevant for international expos. If we import goods for international expos, exhibitions, this can be a procedure for further sampling products to Rospotrebnadzor for certification. They need not to be labeled. You may not label them. There is an extensive list in this resolution. You will be able to study it online. It is accessible. It is there. Ilya Komarov, this is the last question. The custom harmonized code and OPPD2 code are used to understand what we need to label. So for OPPD2 code, can we do it only using the OPPD2 code? We actually get both codes, both the customs harmonized code and the OPPD code. So this is a combined process. We are basing our solutions on this duplicated double information, and then we'll look again into the government resolution and understand what kind of codes, custom harmonized codes and OPPD codes need to be labeled. So we check the documents, we check the products, and we look into the rules that are included in the government resolution. We also remember that we need further paper for further documentation for this process. That includes customs codes. Market participants need to decide for themselves what kind of customs harmonized codes or PPD codes are relevant for their products that are imported. Import is simpler because importers can work with brokers of customs specialists. If they declare their goods themselves, they they know their customs harmonized codes very well, and they are capable of even pre-declarating their items. I don't want to share more lyrical impressions with you. For manufacturing of consumer goods, it cannot be simpler. For footwear, even there are different shoes, and of course, manufacturing of consumer goods, this industry is an extensive industry. A small importer or a small manufacturer, a small importer that watches our online streaming today, so probably they hope that they will know, so they will not need to label. There will be a lot of issues to whether you need to label or you didn't label your products. So this is one of the most complicated questions on the agenda. And we expect that this process will be really cumbersome and some complicated. As we close our roundtable, probably just a few words of wisdom, words of hope, just a couple of words mentioning probably 2 or 3 points from your experience relevant to labeling. Just give a gist for those who want to understand it better. Alexander, can you be with us? Okay. First of all, if you don't know what to do, if you don't understand how you can how you can begin this process, we have the Chesny Znak website. There is a training center, educational center there. There are a lot of video tutorials there. You will be able to watch a video tutorial on working with the system, on how to log in, how to sign up, and what kind of documents you will be able to get. And this is the first thing on how to get a data matrix code. If you have some technical issues, if you have some mistakes, then you just need to take a snapshot. You will need to describe everything step by step. And then after that, you send this report to our electronic mail support at crpd.ru. This is a way for you to understand the process better. Our technical specialist will be handy in helping you. The more information you include in your ticket, the simpler it is for us to provide a faster solution, and all will escalate your problem higher. For imports, those of you who want to import consumer goods, consult with your colleagues. For footwear, we had a lot of mistakes when they included everything in capital letters to the 31st graph. And they didn't pay attention to the capitalization. It led to mistakes. It led to a stoppage of customs procedures. And of course, it was not possible to clear a cargo until the customs authority gets the exact information. That's it. So you just need to be attentive. You need to be able to ask for support. We'll provide it to you. Nadezhda, can you tell us more about it? I would like to call on our partners, all our market participants, that they need to act as soon as possible to study those rules. Many of us have been active in this process. Both manufacturers and importers and all stakeholders need to understand correctly what kind of process should look like. They need to start preparing their processes to this new reality. There are issues, and we will surely have issues. Probably there are some technical issues. CRPD don't have that many issues, but if there are any, you need to connect with the technical support and you get your answers. But the key thing is to start this process. The earlier the better. The earlier it is, the less painful the process it is. Speak about ourselves, we are just finalizing, we're already finalizing this process. Starting October, we want to start first batches with our partners who are ready to accept them. So we want to start testing in October, and then we want to start labeling, marking our stocks because we want to support all our processes. Irina, what's your weighing? I can tell you that there is nothing bad in labeling. We're not piloting the process. The system has been piloted. There are a lot of challenges, of course, but they all can be overcome. Our countries told us that any issue can be solved step by step. You just need to consult us. If you don't understand anything or understand a particular moment, we will help you. Good luck. Now, PS remark. Alexander, do you need to label products that are exported? Of course, you produce it, then you need to label it, of course. And of course, the export declaration includes the same 31st graph that's there. And of course, you need to label it. And of course, we remember the zero rate for the VAT. As we close our roundtable, I'd like to tell you that at 12 o'clock, I will tell you more about scalability. I will tell you more about scalability in international markets. So we will speak about new developments. And of course, I want to assure everyone who sent their questions. So the phone number is 925-901-0000. You can use this phone to send your questions to my WhatsApp. I will transfer them to our colleagues. We also have a secret chat of foreign trade activity organizers. We discuss issues there. We discuss a lot of problems in this secret chat. We discuss problems and also we discuss pros and cons. We are ready to support you. We are ready to discuss of the foreign trade activity. And of course, illegal foreign activity is a good thing, but you need to be prepared for that. I expect everyone to join me at our scalability event. Just connect with me.